Our nations share an urgent mission, which is to stop and defeat terrorism wherever it may exist.
After 2 months, the U.S. military has seen its first and maybe second victory in the urgent mission against terrorism.
This is News 3 at Sunrise.
Welcome to News 3 Sunrise. I'm Chera, Kimiko.
And I'm Ben Correa. It is Sunday, November 11th. Happy Veterans Day, and thanks for joining us. Northern forces are on the move this morning and claim they've captured another city, former capital, Taloqan.
An opposition spokesman says the report of the fallen city comes from the Northern Alliance defense minister. However, the claim is not verified and there has been no confirmation from the Taliban.
Today is a somber anniversary, not only here in the United States, but for many around the world.
Candace Gibson right now is live when we join him. Candace?
Good morning. 2 months after these attacks here at the World Trade Center, crews continue to remove rubble and recover the dead. The president will come here later today to pay homage to those who lost their lives. Exactly 2 months after the World Trade Center was attacked, parts of the site look a lot like they did on that first day. Smoke still billows from the rubble. A moment of silence this morning as 2 more bodies are removed from beneath, and workers still facing a seemingly insurmountable task. This is what President Bush will see this afternoon when he tours the site for a second time. This time around, he plans to lay a wreath at Ground Zero. But first, in honor of those who have fought for freedom, the president is attending a morning breakfast with some of America's veterans.
The evil ones have roused a mighty nation, a mighty land, and for however long it takes, I am determined that we will prevail, and prevail we must, because we fight for one thing, and that is the freedom of our people and the freedom of people everywhere.
The president is in New York on a whirlwind 2-day diplomatic trip. He was at the United Nations under extremely tight security, asking world leaders to offer more than just sympathy.
And when we find the terrorists, we must work together to bring them to justice. We must unite in opposing all terrorists, not just some of them.
The president is hoping to shore up support for the coalition against terrorism and also try to gain additional help from lingering nations. This as the U.S. military continues to bomb Afghanistan. As rebel forces make gains, American special forces are spotted on the ground. The success of the campaign in Afghanistan perhaps depends a lot on the president's success in New York this weekend. We're back now live. Here's a sense of the latest numbers that we have right now. More than 3,700 people remain among the missing. More than 550 have been identified. That's the latest live here in New York. I'm Candace Gibson. Let's go back to you.
Candace, thank you. Bush says we should never let the pain of the attacks fade. Yesterday, he told the UN General Assembly that the hour of justice will come soon for those responsible.
And with the country at war, Veterans Day events today are expected to draw bigger than normal crowds. The parade in downtown Las Vegas will include a convoy of newly restored armored vehicles. News 3's Steve Crupi found you can already see the impressive military machines rumbling down local roadways.
Right over it.
Battling traffic can be quite an ordeal unless you're driving the next best thing to a tank. This is a British-made heavy armored car, one of 17 antique war machines licensed for Nevada roads and ready for action in Sunday's Veterans Day parade.
And in light of the recent unfortunate events, I think we're going to have a parade that'll just be, it's going to roll everybody's socks up and down.
This Las Vegas warehouse is filled with military history and men like Sam Lehman, who have a passion for bringing old vehicles back to life.
It's got defenses, it's armored, 50 caliber or larger. It's got a machine gun on the top with a rotating turret, 360 degrees.
Even though this armored vehicle is fully operational, there's no live ammunition on board at all. But the owner of this vehicle, Bill Stojak, says there's nothing better for home security than having something like this sitting in your front driveway. But it's on the roadway that these armored monsters attract the most attention.
A big reaction. Yeah, you have a lot of applause, a lot of yelling, a lot of pointing.
No one cuts you off. Cab drivers yield the right of way, and you never see an obscene gesture. There is no road rage within about 100 meters.
With the United States currently at war, this hobby has taken on a whole new dimension. Patriotism is on a roll, and so too are these military enthusiasts gunning for attention on the streets of Las Vegas. Steve Crupi, News 3.
And they're going to get that attention today. You can see those vehicles and a whole lot more in the Las Vegas Veterans Day Parade this morning. It starts at 11. You can see the map on your screen. The parade route is along 4th Street, beginning at Charleston and ending at the Fremont Street Experience.
Also today, a USO concert will be held at the Mandalay Bay Events Center.
One from yesterday who have made us who we are today. There are 2 words, 2 names.
These are just some of the Las Vegas entertainers who are taking part. People like Lance Burton and singer Wayne Newton. It will be the first time stars from the majority of the Strip hotels will perform together for one cause. The concert starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The money raised will be sent directly to places that support soldiers.
The local tourism industry has suffered since September 11th, but things are about to get better with the kickoff of the annual Comdex Computer Technology Show today. Security will be extremely tight at this year's show. Metal detectors will be in place outside the exhibit hall, and no bags of any kind are allowed on the show floor. 150,000 people are expected for Comdex this year. Bill Gates will deliver the Comdex keynote address tonight at 7 at the MGM. The convention runs through Friday.
A group of Las Vegas students are getting a hands-on lesson of what it's like to be homeless. The group spent yesterday afternoon serving food at a local charity, then spent the night outside with only a blanket and a cardboard box. Organizers hope the experience will teach kids to be thankful for what they have and to treat others who do not have as much as they do with kindness and respect.
We want them to realize that there's another part of society out there. Some of the youth are somewhat sheltered, living on the northwest end of town, and we want to open up to them that there is other people out there, and for them to know exactly how well they do have it, and also, how they can help.
I see my family and my friends with cell phones, cars, houses, and they have nothing but their clothes, and maybe even that. So it's scary.
The group will wake up this morning and head straight to church. Then another group will participate in the same activities later on today.
6:09, it was a chilly night for them outside and chilly morning as well. Let's step outside, see how your Sunday morning is shaping up.
Very pretty.
Yeah. Looking live right now from our Rio camera. Partly cloudy, temperature a chilly 56 degrees. It was cooler overnight for those teens. Wind southwest at 5 miles per hour with a barometer at 30.03 and steady.
And for later on today, look for mostly sunny skies. We have a nice day, high 75, low this evening 51 degrees.
People with diabetes know the importance of controlling blood sugar, but they may be missing other factors that could put their health at risk. Find out how a new campaign is trying to teach diabetes patients what they're missing.
Well, the concern about smallpox is that, as opposed to anthrax, it is transmissible person to person by close contact.
Plus, threats of more bioterrorism are on the minds of many people across the country. Learn what is being done to prepare for the potential threat of smallpox.
And convention goers are in town. Find out how this year's Comdex may be crucial to our local economy. That's all coming up next on News 3, where news comes first.
You're watching Southern Nevada's #1 choice for news. This is News 3 at Sunrise.
Welcome back. Time now is 6:12. It is estimated 75% of people with diabetes die from heart disease and stroke. And in this morning's Healthline 3, diabetes experts say the disease is about more than just controlling blood sugar to cut the risk of heart disease. Studies now show they need to be concerned about complications caused by high cholesterol and high blood pressure. The National Diabetes Education Program is launching the ABC campaign to help get that message across.
The ABCs of diabetes: A1C for diabetes control, B for blood pressure, and C for cholesterol, can be controlled with diet, exercise, and medications that each work independently to control those problems.
The National Diabetes Education and ADA are distributing a new brochure for people with diabetes that includes a wallet card to help them track their ABC numbers. To get the brochure, call 1-800-438-5383. Now there's even more reason to add a daily dose of berries to your diet. Research finds the tiny fruit packs a powerful disease-fighting punch. For example, strawberries and black raspberries contain a compound called ellagic acid, which may help prevent cancer of the esophagus. Blueberries may help protect memory. Nutrition researchers note the relationship between diet and cancer is very complex, and rarely is a single food a powerful cancer fighter alone. But they say adding a berry to a balanced diet may help give your health a boost. It is the leading cause of visual problems and blindness, and in this country it's called macular degeneration. Now, one hospital is hoping to prevent the problem by the use of vitamins. A new study shows taking certain antioxidant vitamins such as vitamin C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, and zinc can help. Risk factors for macular degeneration include smoking, older age, light-colored eyes, and family history. It's also more common in Caucasians. But doctors say regular eye exams are the best way to catch macular degeneration in the early stages. Vitamins for macular degeneration are available over the counter at the end of this month or beginning of December. But you do not want to take them without talking to your doctor first.
In the wake of the anthrax infections over the past few weeks, there has been a lot of concern about other possible biologic threats, and one that has been mentioned often is smallpox. Dr. Max Gomez tells us about smallpox and what is being done to prepare for the potential threat.
It is considered the greatest public health triumph in history, the eradication of smallpox, one of mankind's greatest scourges. The result of a World Health Organization global vaccination campaign meant that as of 1972, smallpox vaccines were no longer routine in this country and discontinued worldwide in 1980. And while smallpox is gone, it is not forgotten as a possible biological weapon.
Well, the concern about smallpox is that, as opposed to anthrax, it is transmissible person to person by close contact. And it is not treated by antibiotics.
Smallpox is caused by a virus, which means drugs are not effective for treatment. Infection follows inhalation of the virus, where it implants in the mucous membranes of the respiratory tract. The incubation period is 12 to 14 days on average, after which the patient develops a high fever, malaise, severe headache, backache, often accompanied by delirium and abdominal pain. However, and this is very important, the patient is still not contagious at this stage. Only 1 to 3 days after taking ill does the patient develop the characteristic rash, which appears first in the mouth and throat, then face and forearms. Only now is the patient contagious, primarily to those in close contact.
Well, close contact would be individuals in the same household or people that have had face-to-face contact with the patient who had smallpox, including healthcare workers, because it's transmitted by saliva droplets, very much as you might transmit a cold.
Since its eradication, the only places the smallpox virus are still known to exist are the CDC in Atlanta and the Institute for Virus Preparations in Moscow, Russia. There have been persistent rumors that some rogue reservoirs may exist in North Korea or Iraq, or may have been stolen or sold from the Soviet stockpile. And since immunity from the vaccine lasts only between 10 and 30 years, federal health authorities have ordered 300 million doses of vaccine to protect the population, which will take a year or more to deliver. Better news is that 15 million doses are already in storage at the CDC, which may actually protect even larger numbers of people.
We know that in the 60s, the CDC conducted studies to show that the very potent vaccine that's available can be diluted 5 times. And the government has a stockpile of 15 million doses of vaccine. And if that were to be diluted 5 times, then we would essentially have 75 million doses of vaccine available immediately.
I'm Dr. Max Gomez for NBC News.
Other studies are currently underway to test tenfold dilution, which would mean protection for half the U.S. population with present vaccine stores. The vaccine can provide protection even up to 4 days after a person has been exposed. The question is whether to begin using the vaccine now or wait until there is a confirmed case. The vaccine can have some serious complications. Antibody serum does help with complications, but supplies of that also have to be increased.
6:18 is the time UNLV headed to New Mexico. Rick Strasser shows us the highlights from the Rebels-Lobos game up next in sports.
Then it's the legal edge.
I'm attorney Mike Bryant. Water. It's very difficult to control where it goes, but do you have a responsibility to your neighbors to do just that? We'll talk about it on the legal edge.
This day in history for November 11th. In 1988, Sacramento, California police found the first of 7 bodies buried in the grounds of a boarding house. Authorities later charged the landlady that you see right here, Dorothea Puente, in the deaths of 9 people. A jury then convicted her of 3 of those murders. She was sentenced to life in prison.
In 1993, the more than 11,000 American women who served in the Vietnam War were honored with a bronze statue. The dedication took place in Washington, D.C.
In 1999, an apartment building collapsed in Italy, killing 67 people. Cheap building materials and poor construction were to blame for the incident.
6:21, stepping outside, see how your Sunday morning forecast is shaping up on this Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all the men and women who served for our country. Looking live right now from our Fitzgerald camera, and it's partly cloudy with the temperature cool 56 degrees with a barometer at 30.03 and steady.
And for the rest of your forecast, let's check in with Miss Rachel Boesing. Good morning to you, Rachel.
Good Sunday morning to you. On this Veterans Day, we're looking at a mix of weather. We actually have nothing to report for the nation's midsection thanks to high pressure being in control there. We will see some light showers moving across the northeast thanks to a disturbance there, and some showers in the southern plains, really the southernmost tip of Texas. And as you can see, a low pressure system is getting ready to move on shore here in the west, and that's the system that will be influencing our weather over the next couple of days. It's actually a low pressure system that is forecast to move on shore really Monday into Tuesday, sliding across the Silver State in that time period. And so what we anticipate is our best chance of showers with this low will be Monday night into Tuesday morning. Now, ahead of this system, we'll be dealing with the clouds. Partly cloudy conditions today, and then when the system moves on shore, that chance of showers in that time frame. And then behind the system, more clouds. The temperature is going to drop over the next couple of days thanks to this low. But for today, we anticipate that despite the cloud cover, we will reach temperatures above the average high for this time of year. We're looking for a high today of 73. The average for this time of year, 70 degrees. Partly cloudy conditions for this afternoon. Winds out of the southwest at about 20. That's the high end, so really winds between 10 and 20. And over the next several days, as I mentioned, the temperature will be falling until Tuesday and then start to climb back up thanks to that approaching low pressure system. So mostly cloudy conditions on Monday, a high of 73. Monday night into Tuesday, that's our best chance for some showers here into Tuesday morning. 66 for our high there. Wednesday and Thursday, the clouds start to move on out. We're only looking for partly cloudy conditions, and the temperature starts to warm up a bit. 67 on Wednesday, 69 on Thursday. But it's Sunday, it's Veterans Day. Have a good one.
Rachel, thank you.
Thank you.
Jinx. 6:23, the UNLV Rebels were a little bugged. Well, at least their quarterback was.
Rick Strasser has that story plus the highlights from the UNLV soccer game in Sunrise Sports.
Good morning. For some time, fans have been asking if they were going to see Jason Thomas pulled from his starting job with UNLV, especially now that the Rebels will not go to a bowl nor have a winning season. Well, it finally bugged him enough. Actually, flu bugged him. JT didn't start last night in New Mexico because of a reported flu. So Kurt Nankis made his first collegiate start. Picked this one up in the first quarter. Rebels down 7-0. Dominic Dorsey finds a hole and exploits it. Goes all the way for the score, 40 yards, and a 7-7 tie. Later in the game, Nankis, the long pass to Andy Dubelak. Great grab for his first catch of the season. 26 yards and a 14-7 lead. You like that one? Yeah. Second half, some problems. Leading 17-14, Nankis muffs the snap, tries to pick it up. Unsuccessful. Lobo ball. That would lead to this. Jared Baxter, he bulls his way in from 2 yards out. That gives New Mexico a lead it would not give up. UNLV did not score in the second half. Here Nankis showing a little bit of inexperience, in some trouble, rolls to his right, throws it into a crowd and is picked off. The Rebels drop another one. 27-17, the final score. You see the line on Nankis on the night. 12 of 28, 159 yards, and that score. No word on whether Jason Thomas will be healthy enough to play in next week's finale at Air Force. For all those who live and breathe UNLV athletics and have been gasping for breath because of the football team, there's hope. Basketball season. The new-look Runnin' Rebels took the court last night for the first time in the Charlie Spoonhour era. The first exhibition game before doing it for real next week against Wisconsin. Nice game for Luke Kelly, looking for an injury-free season. Had 24 to lead all scores. Off the miss here, watch Chris Richardson fly in and from nowhere and clean it up. If you like that one, you'll love this one from LaFonte Johnson. Dankeschön. Chris had 13 points. Finally, nice dish inside from Vince Booker to Omari Pearson, who finishes it up. No problems in the exhibition debut, 96-68 the final. Next exhibition on Tuesday. UNLV and BYU in the Mountain West Women's Soccer Championship yesterday. Pick it up late in the first, 1-0 BYU. Watch the individual effort by Cougars' Kelly Hunsberger. Nice move to free herself. Nice shot off the crossbar and in. 2-0 at the half. Late in the game, off the Rebel free kick, Jenny Ruiz will gain control of it and rips off a long shot just over the goalie's reach to pull UNLV within one, but that's as close as they would get. 2-1 was the final score. The Rebels shot at the NCAA tourney is now in the selection committee's hands. Well, that'll do it for now. Join me for Sports on News 3 at 5 and 6. I'll show you highlights from the week that was in the NFL. Until then, I'm Rick Strasser. Have a great Sports Sunday.
Rick, thank you. Today on Channel 3, News 3 will be postponed. That is at 9 o'clock because of the NASCAR Winston Cup, Miami 400, followed by the Gravity Games at 1. Then it is NBA Inside Stuff at 3:30. And as always, you can catch George Michael's Sports Machine for a recap of your weekend sports right after News 3 Nightside.
You've dealt with neighbors who are noisy, messy, maybe even smelly, but attorney Mike Bryan says it can get worse if you don't have the legal edge.
We've talked before about trespassing people, trespassing tree parts. But what about trespassing water? Water that flows from a neighbor's property onto yours. That's Paul's problem. His neighbor did a ton of landscaping, and now rain and other runoff pours down the man-made hillside. Paul gets soggy. Just another trespass? Well, not exactly. There are libraries full of books that cover water rights, but they're confusing, they're complicated, they're muddy. But a simple general rule might help. If the land in its natural condition creates water runoff, like this hillside, no problem. But if the land is changed, dirt added, trees moved, and those changes create water runoff, that's a problem. Dealing with trespassing water. Before you buy property, take a good look at the lay of the land. Slopes, hillsides, mounds, all could channel water to the property. Check the local recorder's office for engineering or survey info. Get one yourself if runoff might be a problem. Already own the property? Is the cause of any runoff natural, or did a neighbor change the contour of the property, directing liquid to your land? Approach the neighbor about drying up the problem, but be prepared to get legal help. Paul, since the guy in your case brought dirt to his land and changed the direction of the runoff, you got a pretty good argument that the neighbor should pay for any damage caused by the runoff, and that neighbor should stop the runoff immediately.
What's the problem?
Knowing that will give you the legal edge. Well, immediately is a kind of a harsh word. I'm attorney Michael James Bryant.
6:28 straight ahead in the second half hour of News 3 Sunrise.
Today marks the 2-month anniversary of the terrorist attacks. We'll have the latest as the U.S. fight backs in Afghanistan after a victory in one of the Taliban key cities.
Plus, Comdex is back in town to give our city an economic boost, but find out how it's not going to be the same as years past.
And we all know the quirky duo, Penn and Teller, on stage, but what are they like off? Find out how one of the weird comedians lives in our Living Las Vegas segment.
The Northern Alliance claims a second victory over the Taliban forces, this as the 2-month anniversary of the attacks have come.
This is News 3 at Sunrise.
Welcome News 3 Sunrise. I'm Ben Correa.
And I'm Chera. Kimiko. It is Sunday, November 11th, Veterans Day. Thank you for joining us. New reports are coming in that the Northern Alliance has taken over another city in Afghanistan.
They claim to have taken over the former capital, Taloqan, but the Taliban has not confirmed the takeover.
And today is a somber anniversary, not only here in the United States, but for many around the world. Candace Gibson is live in New York. Let's go to him now.
Good morning, everybody. Hard to believe, but it has been exactly 2 months since the attacks. In that time, crews here have been able to clear away about a third of the rubble. The amount of missing, the number of missing now down to 3,700. President Bush is expected to come here later on today to once again pay his respects to those who lost their lives. Exactly 2 months after the World Trade Center was attacked, parts of the site look a lot like they did on that first day. Smoke still billows from the rubble. A moment of silence this morning as 2 more bodies are removed from beneath, and workers still facing a seemingly insurmountable task. This is what President Bush will see this afternoon when he tours the site for a second time. This time around, he plans to lay a wreath at Ground Zero. But first, in honor of those who have fought for freedom, the president is attending a morning breakfast with some of America's veterans.
The evil ones have roused a mighty nation, a mighty land, and for however long it takes, I am determined that we will prevail, and prevail we must, because we fight for one thing, and that is the freedom of our people and the freedom of people everywhere.
The president is in New York on a whirlwind 2-day diplomatic trip, hoping to shore up support for the coalition against terrorism and also try to gain additional help from lingering nations. This as the U.S. military continues to bomb Afghanistan. As rebel forces make gains, American special forces are spotted on the ground. The success of the campaign in Afghanistan perhaps depends a lot on the president's success in New York this weekend. And once again, there will be a ceremony later on this afternoon here in a very windy and cold New York City. And that ceremony will really give and illustrate the worldwide scale of these attacks, because they plan on listing off out loud the more than 80 countries who had citizens that died here at the World Trade Center. Reporting live from New York, I'm Candace Gibson. Let's go back to you.
Candace, thank you. The American Red Cross collected hundreds of thousands of blood donations after the attacks, but now the Red Cross has begun to destroy thousands of the donations because they've expired. The charitable outpouring of Americans all over the country offered the Red Cross an opportunity to restock its drained blood inventory. The organization assured donors that any supplies of blood would be frozen for later use. But now the Washington Post is reporting the Red Cross did not have the resources available to freeze such large amounts. Now the Red Cross hopes to create a reserve in case more terrorist attacks.
Today is, of course, Veterans Day, and many veterans will tell you they feel forgotten on this day. But with the nation facing a new enemy, that is hardly the case this year. And this morning's Veterans Day parade may be the biggest one Las Vegas has ever seen.
It's a special year to get out there and support our troops here that are taking care of us overseas.
Organizers say they are expecting thousands of people. So far, about 150 groups have signed up to march in the event. Fighter jets from Nellis will also fly over to honor the men and women of the military. The parade starts this morning at 11 o'clock on Charleston Boulevard. It will then proceed down 4th Street and end on Fremont Street.
The great ones from yesterday who have made us who we are today. There are 2 words, 2 names.
Also today, a USO concert will be held at the Mandalay Bay Events Center. These are just some of the few entertainers that you will see that are taking part, like Lance Burton and singer Wayne Newton. It will be the first time stars from the majority of the Strip hotels will perform together for one cause. The fund starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The money raised will be sent directly to places that support the soldiers.
And after the parade, why not head to a national park? And the reason is because it's not going to cost you anything to get in. This Veterans Day, President Bush has waived all entrance fees, including the ones right here in the Valley. That means free admission to Lake Mead, Zion, and Red Rock. If you're going to Red Rock, we want to remind you that the visitor center will be closed because of an anthrax scare. Authorities found a white powder in the men's bathroom early this week. Management believes it may be just climbing chalk or talcum powder, but they're following emergency procedures just to be safe. But, you know, the rest of Red Rock is open, and again, it is free.
The Las Vegas economy will hopefully get a major shot in the arm this coming week with the start of the Comdex convention. The annual computer technology show is expected to draw more than 150,000 people and pump millions of dollars into the economy. I talked to some of the people gearing up for the event, and they told me get ready for a great turnout because Las Vegas as well as Comdex are huge attractions.
No, actually, I like that.
Preparations are underway at the convention center for the annual Comdex convention. As thousands of exhibitors set up booths, their attitudes are positive.
I think it's very important that we come together and we show the world it's business as usual and that we have work to accomplish and we need to get on with it.
Companies still need robust networks, they need secure networks, they need applications, they need development tools, they still need technology in order to run their business successfully.
This year's attendance at Comdex is down 25%. But Nevada Senator Harry Reid, who toured the main convention hall as workers geared up for the world's biggest trade show, said he's not worried about our local economy.
We're doing fine. I didn't come here with a lot of bad news. I came here with good news. From my perspective, the glass is half full, not half empty.
After all, Comdex is where you come see the technology of tomorrow in a city that never sleeps.
Seems to be a lot of excitement in Vegas, and the hotel that I'm staying in is full, so I'm guessing that they're going to have a very successful show.
Overall, visitor volume in Las Vegas has bounced back better than any destination in the world. Comdex starts today and runs through Friday. Tonight at 7 o'clock, Bill Gates will deliver the keynote address at the MGM.
We saw Nevada Senator Harry reading your piece, but there is a reason why he's in town. He's here in the Valley to help boost our state's tourism, and he's doing all he can in Washington. Reid says tourism will be a part of the economic stimulus package being worked out in Congress, and he says the government has helped airlines crippled by the events of September 11th, and other tourism businesses should have received the same treatment as well.
Nevada Representative Shelley Berkeley is also pushing for a new economic package to help Nevadans who have lost their jobs in the past couple of months. Yesterday, Berkeley delivered the weekly Democratic radio address to the country, calling on Congress to support a new tax rebate for 29 million people.
Almost overnight, 15,000 hotel and restaurant workers were laid off in Las Vegas alone. My families in Las Vegas and families across the country risk losing their homes, their jobs, health insurance, and even their unemployment benefits. Families are hurting, and we need to help.
The tax rebate proposal was defeated in the economic recovery bill that already passed in the House. Berkeley says the Republican bill spends money on tax cuts for corporations while America's families need help the most.
6:40 may be hard to believe, but the 2002 Olympic Winter Games is just a couple months away. But since the terrorist attacks, many people may not feel safe.
Find out what Olympic officials are now doing to make everyone feel secure.
What is your fascination with the penitentiary?
Oh, I just want it to look really unpleasant from the outside, really pleasant from the inside.
And we'll take you to a sneak peek inside look at Penn from the duo Penn and Teller's home. Let me tell you, folks, it's pretty weird, and you got to see it. That's next on News 3, where news comes first.
You're watching Southern Nevada's #1 choice for news. This is News 3 at Sunrise.
6:42, hundreds, if not thousands, of Las Vegans are likely to take advantage of the short trip to Utah to be a part of Olympic history.
But the September 11th terrorist attacks have changed many people's views of the 2002 Winter Games, leaving them wondering if they'll be safe in Salt Lake.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a big party. But we like to think of it as a party that at least has some controlled boundaries.
Party planning is underway in Park City, Utah, a small resort community about 30 miles outside of Salt Lake. The city is undergoing a facelift in preparation for the hundreds of thousands of Olympic tourists and the potential for serious problems. It's former police chief Frank Bell's job to make sure the party is safe.
the short answer is that the security plan is much more comprehensive than it used to be. There's a piece of that that people will be able to see, and a piece of that that people won't be able to see.
The security preparations began when Salt Lake won the bid for the 2002 games 6 years ago. Officials say their plan was strong before September 11th and is even stronger now.
Fortunately, the Olympics, we know exactly when and where something may happen, so there really aren't going to be any surprises as far as terrorist opportunities are concerned.
I think they pretty much got it under control of security or any problems they might have.
Keeping people safe comes with a hefty price tag, nearly $300 million. A figure that is 3 times the security budget of the Atlanta Summer Games.
If you're coming to Salt Lake for the Winter Olympics, you're going to see all sorts of security here. In fact, at Temple Square, for the first time ever, visitors will have to go through metal detectors to get in here.
Those metal detectors won't just be at the tourist hotspots. For the first time in Winter Olympic history, every person at every venue will be screened with metal detectors.
What you'll see as a spectator if you come to the Olympic Games, very similar to going to the airport. You'll go through a magnetometer and you'll have your bag searched.
Also similar to the airport will be security provided by the National Guard. After September 11th, Utah's governor decided to call up at least 2,000 guardsmen and women to replace volunteers at critical security checkpoints. Officials are also shutting down Olympic Square, a 7-block area downtown. Crews will put up concrete barriers and chain-link fences, allowing only ticket holders in one of 3 entrances. And the no-fly zone over at the stadium, where the opening and closing ceremonies will be held, is likely to be expanded from tens of miles to hundreds of miles, a decision that could mean stopping all flights in and out of the Salt Lake City airport during the ceremonies.
That was Kendall Tenney reporting. If you are going to the games, do not take a backpack or anything like it, and that is because security workers are restricting them because the multiple pockets in the zipper slow security checkpoints.
There'll also be no glass bottles allowed. Security workers say the plan is so complete, no can of Coke will come in without being inspected.
So, if you are going to the games or have any stories or ideas that you would like to see us do about the games, just drop us an email here at kvbc.com.
6:45, the comedy duo Penn and Teller have been all around the world. Now they live right here in Las Vegas, but see how one of their personality reflects in their decorating techniques. Something you've got to see in this morning's Living Las Vegas.
Then it's Mr. Food.
Guess what? We're not cooking tonight. Yeah, the gang's in charge. Can they do it? They'll just leave them a few helpers and they're on their way.
.48 right now, looking live from our Fitzgerald camera. Sunny right now, temperature 54 degrees. Winds west 5 miles per hour with a barometer at 30.04 and rising.
And for the rest of the day, look for sun and clouds with a high of 73 degrees. Low this evening, a nice 52 degrees. Well, the comedian magician team Penn and Teller have circled the globe performing in addition to hosting the NBC World's Greatest Magic Specials. The duo appears in commercials and on talk shows, but now they call Las Vegas and the Rio Hotel Casino home.
We told them about our Living Las Vegas series, but both agreed Penn's home would capture our viewers' eyes the most, and it's something you got to see. And as News 3's Sue Manteris shows us, not only is this house strange, it is the epitome of bachelorhood.
Penn Jillette's home is unlike any other I've seen before. It sits in the southwest part of the valley, and if you drive past it, you'd probably think it was a prison.
Wow, this is a really interesting house. With a payphone? If you've been invited to the Slammer, just pick up the fake payphone and wait to be told what to do, okay? This is so weird. Ooh, wow. Here I go.
You just come right in here.
Oh, hey, he's up there. Wow.
That's illegal. Can't have fire poles in private residences.
Penn's home is anything but normal, more like a prison. He calls it the Slammer.
It's a real prison toilet.
What is your fascination with the penitentiary?
Oh, I just wanted to look really unpleasant from the outside, really pleasant from the inside.
It may sound hard to believe, but Penn built his house with his parents in mind.
This was the the kitchen that I built for my mom. There's kind of two kitchens, but you're not allowed legally to have two kitchens. This part of the house was built for them, and now it's just kind of a guest house. Kind of has a New England vibe to it. And there's a lot of carny stuff here.
Penn is an atheist and is against smoking, drinking, and drugs.
This is by Jose Alvarez, which is called the Atheist Buddha of Vegas. This is kind of just like a makeout room. It's called the Smoking Monkey Lounge. This is from an autopsy in the, what does it say, 1930s. It's real human skin. I have like the largest collection of pornographic cards you'll find in the world.
You have to walk outside to get to each section of the house. Penn says his architect built it that way to force him to get out once in a while.
This is kind of based on a kind of surreal view of a 60s Vegas hotel. And this is my office, and every sort of reference book you could possibly want. I have a sink and a urinal. Oh, this is a real human skeleton here. That's from an Indian woman.
Penn's section of the house shows off his bachelor lifestyle.
This little kind of sex room. And then there's a sex swing in there, and it's all leather padded walls, and it has a real electric chair.
That's a real electric chair?
Sing Sing. And this is a Mona Lisa made of pornography. I don't really live my own life very much. Other people take care of everything. They decide what I eat, they decide what I wear.
At 6 feet 6 inches and 250 pounds, Penn says it's important to stay fit.
This is, you know, TV to watch CNN. And then this is my garage, which is carpeted.
Oh my gosh!
And my 2 cars.
Like many of the entertainers we've interviewed, he also has a home movie theater, complete with a bandstand.
Every Tuesday night after the show at about 11:30, a lot of the local jazz cats come over here, and you know, there's drum kits, PA, get a lot of horns, bring some vibes in.
Oh, and there was just one thing I had to try in this house before saying goodbye. Okay, here I come!
Rapidly.
Woo! I did it! Sue Manteris, News 3.
She is just wacky, Sue. Well, okay, so you might be wondering, how could anyone build a custom home like that? Well, Penn's longtime friend, Colin Summers, just happens to be an architect and designed the home custom to Penn's personality, as you just saw. It's 5,000 square feet and pretty spectacular to tour. You can see Penn and Teller perform their crazy antics at the Rio through November 11th.
Ever dream of going on a treasure hunt in Las Vegas? Those kinds of dreams can come true.
It says proceed to Mojave Wash, depart base camp heading southeast along the Bitter Springs Backcountry Byway, turn right heading southwest.
A group of 19 explorers launched an expedition in the Nevada desert yesterday. It was part of Chera's year-long treasure hunt promotion. The contestants got entries by playing slot machines or video games at Chera's nationwide properties. Each contestant randomly drew a treasure map and set out in search of the prize. In the end, a local woman won by the name of Shirley Miller, who came out as the winner.
We got something for you. Hold it on up. Yeah! There it is. Yeah! Hold it up right there. $1 million. Yes!
I think she's a little excited. What do you think? Shirley says she plans to share her winnings with her family.
Running out of fun and interesting ideas for dinner? Well, don't worry, Mr. Food is to rescue, and he's going to show us how to make an easy chili pizza.
We're running late, or we won't be home to make dinner at all. Well, wouldn't it be nice if the gang could cope without calling for takeout? Well, if we leave them with a few easy helpers, they can whip up their own homemade meal without ordering out. Watch how easy, using any brands at all. In a skillet, we brown a pound of ground beef along with a medium chopped onion. We drain it, add a can of drained diced tomatoes, and a can of a chili starter that has beans in it. We give it a good mix and spoon that mixture over 6 individual sized pizzas. We top them each with a bit of shredded mozzarella cheese. We place them on a rimmed baking sheet, and we pop them into a preheated 400-degree oven for 10-12 minutes till the cheese melts and they're heated through. And like that, individual chili pizzas. You think they can handle that? Sure. I told you it would be easy for them because there's no long cooking for the chili, because these make short work of that. There's no rolling dough. pitas are a cinch. And there's more choices because they can sprinkle on any of their favorite toppings like jalapenos or sour cream or maybe another cheese. I mean, it all works. And if you'd like the recipe, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope marked Easy Chili Pizza to me, Mr. Food, right here at the station, and we'll get it back to you for leaving them the no-fuss, no-fail way to a super dinner. I mean, they'll have a home-cooked meal, and they'll be proud because they made their very own. Ooh, it's so good.
Well, it's early November, but apparently Santa is already making deliveries in some parts of the world.
Oh my God, we're going to show you where the jolly old man visited to spread some cheer. Coming up next on News 3, where news comes first. It is sunny right now, 6:57. Happy Veterans Day to the men and women who serve for our country. Temperature 54 degrees. Winds west 5 miles per hour with a barometer at 30.04 and rising.
For later on today, it's going to be a nice day with a mix of sun and clouds. High of 73, low 52.
Well, Thanksgiving may be weeks away, but for some, Christmas has already arrived in November.
The man himself, of course, we're talking about Santa Claus, made a rather early stop in the tiny town of St. Mary's, Alaska.
What do you want for Christmas this year, huh?
Dropping off presents for each of the town's 200 children, the event was organized by the Alaska Air National Guard. The Guard delivers toys, clothes, and food for the less fortunate kids. This is the 45th year for Operation Santa Claus.
And
oh, look at that little girl.
Well, Alaska's a major stop for, well, it's the home of Santa, so
hop, skip, and a jump away.
He's going to say goodbye, and then before he makes his way all around the world.
That's right. Santa Claus just coming a little bit early.
Happy Veterans Day again. There's no 9 a.m. We'll see you back here soon.
That's right. Have a good morning, everyone.